Sadden Day Smith. So sad. Sorry, not sorry. It's been a rough stretch for Stephen A's New York Yankees. 0 World Series victories since 2009. Forget victories. They haven't even been to a World Series since then. And if you ask Brian Cashman why, he puts much of the blame on that infamous 2017 Astros team who beat the Yankees in the ALCS, as he told The Athletic, quote, "The only thing that stopped was something that was so illegal and horrific. So I get offended when I start hearing we haven't been to the World Series since 09, because I'm like, well, I think we actually did it the right way. Pulled it down, brought it back up, drafted well, traded well, developed well, signed well. The only thing that derailed us was a cheating circumstance that threw us off." Would you like to start here?
He can start.
Okay.
What
okay.
Is
Cashman right to blame the Astros for the World Series drought?
Hey, Brian, look at the statistics. You know, in the 4 games in that series in 2017, the Yankees scored 3 runs. The Astros were accused of cheating because of their offense, not because of their pitching. The Yankees in 4 games in that series in Houston scored 3 runs. They lost in 7 games. Number 2, they hit 156 as a team. Number 3, they were 2 for 16 with runners in scoring position. Number 4, they had a relay at the end of game 2. Well, little Tuve, ran around those bases and scored on a double by Correa that didn't even reach the wall in right center field.
Absolutely.
Number 3, they had Sabathia, who we all know he's great, but Sabathia was way past his prime. And in a game-deciding game, they had Sabathia pitch game 7, and the Yankees got like 3 hits against 3 Astro pitchers. Number 4, if it's all about the Astros' fault, then how come the Astros beat the Yankees in 2019? They won 2 out of 3 at Yankee Stadium. Or in 2015, when they knocked the Yankees out of the playoffs in a wild card game. And you know what happened after the 2017 postseason, which the Yankees did lose that series to Houston, that Cashman's referring to? They fired Joe Girardi. So let me get this straight. The Astros cheated against the Yankees, and the Yankees paid everybody back by firing the manager? Really? Firing the manager. And the last thing I looked, Aaron Boone has not won a title since, and Girardi won a championship in 2009. And lastly, if I may, in 2009, when the Yankees won the title and beat the Phillies, A-Rod, you know what he did in that postseason? He hit 365, 6 home runs. He did a good job of Embiid, so now it's my turn. A-Rod, 365, 6 homers, and 18 RBIs. He dominated the postseason. Let's be honest. He was lit up like a Christmas tree. The Barry Bonds of the East Coast. Let's be fair. That's called like we see it. Then I hear the Yankees say, you know what, we shouldn't have won in 2009 because we had a guy there that maybe was not playing by the...
Can you just repeat that line again?
By like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Red, white, yellow, blue, all those little lights. I mean, do we have to sit there? So I'm going to hear him now moan and groan about a World Series or about a championship series where the Yankees in 4 games in Houston hit 156. They couldn't score. How come they couldn't hit the Astro pitchers? And they hit 2 for 60 with runners in scoring position. They never got a big hit. And he fired Girardi, who ended up in Philadelphia because he was sick of Girardi. So I don't want to hear from Brian Cashman. About time the Yankees go out there and get to a World Series again and win one of these things.
This is a debate show. So normally we disagree. I'm not going to disagree too much with what you said, because here's my thing. Brian Cashman, shove aside 2017 for a second. You've been to the postseason the last 5 years. Have you won anything? You've been to the postseason 9 times in the last 12 years since you won the World Series. Have you won anything? The reality of the situation is that it is an utter embarrassment as a diehard Yankee fan to listen to the GM point to 1 year when you had 12.
Yeah.
You had 12. You had 12 seasons and 9 postseason appearances. And to lean on 1 year that you should have won as an excuse for why you haven't done it all since 2012 is egregious, because we don't know if you would have beat the Dodgers. We don't know that.
Right.
And so the reality of the situation is Brian Cashman is embarrassed, and he embarrassed himself by saying that, because it highlighted, made you think about, okay, let's go back and look at what the Yankees done. Now let me get on you for a second. Having said all of that about Brian Cashman, it doesn't mean that I'm going to let you off the hook for what you said about him in regards to 2017. I will remind you that those pitchers I love how you brought up the runs that the Yankees were incapable of scoring. One run, and then a 0 in Game 7. All the games the Astros won were home games. They didn't win at Yankee Stadium. They won all the games in the arena, in the stadium where they were cheating. And you know they were cheating. And you, of all people, the paragon of virtue, the one that brings up, what about the integrity? Remember that argument about Barry Bonds and Mark McGwire, his first day here? But suddenly, we get to forget that. We're going to gloss over the integrity issue. You didn't even bring it up. You didn't even bring it up. You, of all people, who lives off of that, who leads on integrity at every turn, you going to just ignore the fact that they won all their games at the Astrodome, at Minute Maid Park. Is that what it's called? Minute Maid Park, right? Minute Maid Park. Verlander beat him twice. We know how much of a stud Verlander is, okay? And that's before he married Kate Upton, okay? Which is an excellent choice. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is that that's before he did it. The man's a stud, okay? And excuse me, Game 1, Keuchel, Dallas, okay? This brother right there pitched in Game 1. Game 7, Morton, he was having an exceptional postseason. He shows up in a Game 7. Now, obviously, they didn't help CC Sabathia. They gave him absolutely no runs whatsoever, and I get all of that. But in the end, doggy, if you know you cheated on your home turf just that 1 year, once you caught cheating, you discredit your title.
I don't want to.
You discredit your title. Are you denying that?
Where was Game 7 against the Dodgers that year? It was in Los Angeles.
It was Los Angeles.
Okay, they won 2 games in LA that year to win the World Series. Did they take away the championship?
I was at that game. I actually went to that game and sit in the stands with my boy Jeff, who's a diehard Mets fan. And I'm depressed about it because I'm the godfather.
Your buddy Jeff.
I'm the godfather of his children. I'm the godfather of his children. And do you know what? By the way, as an aside, he tried to big up the Mets. So you know what he said to me last night? We look really good for spring training. This is just pathetic. See, only Mets fans say something like that. Yankee fans don't say something like that. Only Mets fans say something. We really look good at spring training. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Here's my point, though. You Darvish was a nightmare. You know that. He was an atrocity.
No, he was bad.
He was horrible. I left the game early. We looked at him warming up. We looked at him warming up before Game 7. I went like this. He looks awful here. He looked awful warming up. Okay? And he got smacked around. What I'm saying to you is this. It doesn't matter. If you cheated to get there, you discredit your championship. And you, of all people, Mr. Moral Compass, the paragon of virtue, standing on a pedestal of moral.
You are going to make excuses for that lousy Yankee offense in 4 games in Houston.
Yes.
Where they couldn't hit themselves out of a paper bag.
Because I don't think it was. You know what? But listen, as far as I'm concerned, they discovered them cheating offensively. We don't know if they cheated defensively.
Oh, no, come on.
I don't know anything. What do you mean that's not fair?
Why are you defending Houston?
You're defending Houston.
You are defending Houston. You are defending Houston.
Why are you defending Houston?
How many runs did the Astros score in that series against the Yankees?
I don't remember. I don't have your memory.
All right, don't look at her. Look at me. Okay? I'm right here. Don't try that nonsense with me. The fact of the matter is, when they went to Yankee Stadium, what happened?
Oh, they got some good points.
Thank you. So all of a sudden, everything you do right is on your home turf, when you got trash cans and signals, when they had to remove a dude near the dugout because you guess what? He was stealing signals. Don't get me started banging on trash cans.
The Yankees were so they were so wronged in that series. Then why did Cashman fire Girardi?
I don't think he should have fired Girardi. I don't agree with that. I agree with you there. I don't think he should have fired Girardi. I'm a Girardi fan. I think that Girardi should have been there. And I like Aaron Boone, don't get me wrong, but I don't think Girardi should have ever left.
How about 2009? You're going to give the Yankees a break there where they
Not at all. Not at all. But the point that I'm trying to make to you is that just like you pointing about A-Rod and the Yankees, how come I can't do that with the Astros? Your argument is inconsistent. It's inconsistent and you know it.
I am trying to I'm trying to differentiate from the moral joke and the ineptitude of cheating and the how you pronounce it, depravity?
All right, depravity.
Did I get it right?
That'll work.
That of cheating, which is terrible.
Okay.
And the actual how much they helped them win a championship. They did not need to cheat to win the title.
Wait a minute.
That's what
but they did it anyway.
But they did
it anyway.
And that's wrong.
And that's why they should be confiscated for the title. But hold on, let me get this point in before we leave. You bring up individual praise, whether it's A-Rod, whether it's Barry Bonds, whether it's somebody else. And listen, people make mistakes, and as individuals, and it is what it is. The Houston Astros collectively cheated. The manager was fired. The GM was fired. You had players that were in on it. As Corey, he had to give up his managerial spot with the Boston Red Sox because they sat up there and said, this is what you did before they brought him back. You got all of that going on, but the Astros keep the title? Please, they should throw that in the trash can. How about nobody gets it? How about 2017? No champion. How about that?
Did the 1919 Reds give up
Oh,
their title?
go to break. Go to break. I'm about to get up. Go to roll the bump. I'm serious.